All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling a mystery, a really strange one actually, that happens inside your own head. It's a paradox about how the things we love the most can somehow become the very things we can't stand anymore.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? That one incredible song you just had to listen to on repeat? Or that perfect meal you ordered every single time at your favorite restaurant? At first, it's amazing. But then, eventually, the magic just kind of vanishes. Why? Why does something that brought you so much joy become, well, boring? Oh, you remember that first listen, don't you? The moment you heard that song. The beat drops, the chorus hits, and it's like your brain just lights up. It feels like it was made just for you. You put it on repeat, you play it for everyone. It is, no question, a masterpiece. But then, you fast forward a couple of weeks. That same song comes on, and what's your first instinct? You reach to skip it. That same masterpiece is now just an annoyance. The thrill is totally gone. So what happened? Did the song change? Nope. Something inside you did.
Well, the main suspect in this whole mystery, the one we're going to put under the microscope today, is a tiny but super powerful molecule in your brain. You've probably heard its name before, dopamine. And today, we're going to figure out exactly what it's up to. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the mystery itself, then meet dopamine, the engine of desire. We'll talk about something I call the 10th cake syndrome, then see how the brain literally turns down the volume. After that, we'll see why this is more dangerous than just boredom, and finally, we'll flip the whole thing on its head and see why boredom is actually a feature, not a bug. Let's do it. Okay, let's get right to it. It's time to properly introduce the molecule at the very heart of our story.
Now, here's the thing that most people get wrong about dopamine. We call it the pleasure chemical, but that's not really the full story. A much better name for it is the molecule of more. See, dopamine isn't so much about feeling good, it's about the motivation and the anticipation of getting something good. It's the chemical that screams, hey, that was awesome, go do it again. It's the engine that drives us to seek out rewards.
And to really get how this works, I've got a little story for you. Let's call it the 10th cake syndrome. It's a very simple story about you, a delicious cake, and a very predictable outcome. So picture this. Someone puts the most perfect, most delicious slice of chocolate cake in front of you. That first bite, oh, it's pure heaven. Your brain gets a huge flood of dopamine. The pleasure is off the charts, and you are highly motivated to take another bite. Now, fast forward. Imagine you're on your 10th slice of that exact same cake. How's it taste now? Yeah, probably not so great. The pleasure is gone, the motivation is gone. You might even feel kind of sick. The cake didn't change. Your brain's response to it did. And this is exactly what's happening chemically inside your head. With that first slice of cake, your dopamine response just skyrockets, a massive reward signal. But by the time you get to that 10th slice, the response has totally cratered. It's barely a blip. Your brain has gotten used to the reward, so the signal gets weaker and weaker and weaker. So why? Why does this happen? Why does our brain seem to betray us and just take away the joy from things we love? Well, the answer gets at a core principle of how we're wired. Here's the key thing to understand. Your brain isn't designed for a nonstop party. Its number one goal is survival, and to survive, it needs balance. The scientific term is homeostasis. It's always trying to keep things on a nice, even keel. Too much of anything, even a good thing like pleasure, is a disruption it needs to manage. So how does it get back to balance? It uses a process called downregulation. Think of it like this. That amazing song on repeat is like music blasting at full volume. At first, it's incredible, but after a while, it's just too much. Your brain gets overstimulated. So to protect itself, it starts turning down the volume. It literally makes its dopamine receptors less sensitive. And with less sensitive receptors, the same reward just doesn't create the same feeling of pleasure anymore. The magic starts to fade. Now, for everyday things like food or music, this process is temporary, no big deal. But it's really important to understand that with super potent rewards, like certain addictive drugs, this whole process goes into overdrive. The constant, massive flood of dopamine can actually start to damage the receptors themselves, making it harder to feel pleasure from anything at all. And that brings us to our next point. Because, understanding this isn't just about why your favorite album gets old. When the dopamine system isn't working right, it's linked to some really serious medical conditions. I mean, just look at this.
In Parkinson's disease, the brain cells that produce dopamine actually start to die off. For some types of depression, a problem in the dopamine system is linked to that crushing feeling of not being able to feel pleasure and having zero motivation. And for ADHD, many believe a dysfunction in these same dopamine pathways plays a huge role in the ability to focus. So yeah, keeping this system in balance is absolutely critical for our health.
Okay, so this all sounds kind of like a design flaw, right? Repetition leads to boredom. But what if I told you it's the exact opposite? What if boredom isn't a bug in your system, but one of its most important features?
Let's think about this from an evolutionary point of view. For our ancient ancestors, staying in one spot, eating the same exact food over and over again, that was a terrible survival strategy. A predator could find them, or the food could run out. The brain needed something to push them to explore, to find new food sources, new information, new places. And that something is the dopamine system.
And this is exactly why boredom is so incredibly useful. It's a built-in alarm. It's a signal from deep inside your brain that's saying, hey, we've learned everything we can from this. It's predictable now. Time to go find something new. Boredom is the engine of novelty. It's what sparks our curiosity. It fuels our creativity. It is literally your brain's way of forcing you to learn, adapt, and grow.
So the big takeaway here is this: we need to stop thinking of boredom as the enemy. We should see it for what it really is. Boredom is your brain's compass. It's not pointing to nothing, it's pointing you towards what's next. It's an invitation to go explore.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. The next time you feel that familiar tug of boredom, you're tired of that song, tired of that routine, don't just grab your phone to escape it. Stop for a second. Listen to it. Your brain is trying to give you a little push. The only question is, what new world are you going to let it discover? And that's the secret. The boredom paradox isn't a flaw, it's a feature designed to make us explore. If you enjoyed this little trip into your own mind, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more explainers just like this one. Thanks for hanging out.